You carry it home from the nursery in both hands, a perfect little lavender bush, silver leaves tucked tight, purple spikes nodding in the sun. You can already see it beside the path, bees working it, warm fragrance rising when your sleeve brushes past. 3 weeks later, it looks like kindling. The flowers are gone, the leaves have turned gray and tired. The stems snap instead of bend. The soil is still damp because you kept checking it, kept watering it, kept trying to save it. And that is the part that stings. You did not forget it. You fed it, sheltered it, moved it out of harsh weather, gave it the soft treatment every good plant is supposed to like. Old Amos would look at that pot and say, quiet as rain. That lavender was not neglected. It was loved to death. The hard truth is that most lavender care begins with a mistaken identity. Old Amos has watched this happen for 50 years. Good gardeners killing lavender with gentle hands. He will tell you the first secret before he talks about soil, watering, pruning, varieties, or anything else. Lavender is not a cottage princess. It is not basil. It is not a petunia. It is not one of those soft, thirsty flowers that wants rich compost, daily attention, and a little drink every time the afternoon sun looks cruel. Lavender comes from a harder school than that. If you treat it like a bedding plant, you give it the wrong life. You tuck it into heavy soil. You water on a schedule. You feed it until the stems grow soft. Then the roots sit cold and wet, the crown loses air, and the whole plant begins to fail from the bottom up. What keeps lavender alive is simpler and less sentimental. Sun, air, lean ground, sharp drainage, and a little hardship. That is the shift. You do not save lavender by caring more. You save it by caring correctly. To save lavender, you first have to picture where it came from. Picture a lavender plant on a hillside, not in a flower bed. The sun is hard on its shoulders. The soil is pale and stony. Rain comes, then runs away. Wind moves through the stems all day, drying the leaves, drying the crown, keeping the plant honest. That is the home lavender understands. It was built for exposed places around the Mediterranean, where the ground is lean, the air is dry, and the roots are never asked to sit in a cold, wet pocket for long. Its narrow leaves are not just pretty, they are made to lose less water. Its oils are not just perfume, they are part of a plant shaped by heat, brightness, and scarcity. So when you take that same plant and tuck it into a rich, damp, sheltered bed, you have not rescued it from hardship. You have confused it. The roots go searching for air and find mud. The stems, fed too generously, stretch soft instead of firm. The middle of the plant stays humid after rain. Then fungus comes in quietly. Rot starts where you cannot see it. By the time the top looks tired, the trouble has already been working below. Old Amos would say lavender is not asking for luxury. It is asking for the sort of rough ground that would make fussier plants turn up their noses. That is why the gardener who tries hardest can lose it fastest. More water, richer soil, more shelter, more kindness. All the wrong gifts. Lavender does not thrive because it is easy everywhere. It thrives when the place matches the plant. And if the hillside is the model, then the first thing to fix is not the flowers. It is the ground beneath them. So the ground beneath lavender has one job. It must let go. Not slowly, not politely, quickly. When rain falls or when you water, that moisture should move through the root zone and leave air behind. Lavender roots need oxygen around them. In tight clay or in a bed loaded with compost, those little spaces close up. Water sits there. The roots begin to suffocate. Then rot follows. That is the part many gardeners miss. They look at the top of the plant and think it is dry. It must need more. But down below, the roots may already be standing in cold, wet soil. The leaves wilt, not because the plant is thirsty, but because the damaged roots can no longer drink. Old Amos would crumble the soil in his hand before he trusted it. If it made a sticky ribbon, he knew lavender would sulk there. If it fell apart gritty and loose, with little stones and sharp edges in it, that was a better sign. Good lavender soil is lean and open. Mix heavy ground with horticultural grit, coarse sand, fine gravel, or perlite. Not beach sand, not soft builder's sand that packs down like mortar. You want particles that create gaps so water passes through and air returns. And be careful with compost. A little is not a crime, but a rich, dark, moisture-holding bed is not kindness to lavender. It pushes soft growth above and wet trouble below. This plant would rather have modest food and dry feet than a banquet in a swamp. If your garden holds winter wet, raise the plant. Make a mound. Build a raised bed. Use a pot with open drainage. Keep the crown slightly proud of the soil, not buried in a damp hollow. Lavender also favors soil that sits near neutral to mildly alkaline. It does not need pampering. It needs the right terms: grit, height, air. That is the bargain, but even perfect soil cannot save lavender from the mistake that kills more plants than any other. The mistake is water. Not too little, not too much. The wrong water at the wrong time. A new lavender, especially one just planted from a nursery pot, is not yet the tough little hillside shrub people imagine. Its roots are still small. They sit in the shape of the old pot like a fist in the ground. If you plant it and then walk away for 2 hot weeks, that root ball can dry hard while the soil around it still looks fine. So in the beginning, you water. You water deeply, then you let the top begin to dry. You are not sprinkling the leaves every evening like you are calming a fever. You are teaching the roots to move outward. Deep drink, dry pause. Deep drink, dry pause. That is establishment. Once lavender has settled in, the rule changes. An older plant with roots spread into open, gritty soil does not want constant attention. It wants to dry between proper drinks. If you keep visiting it with a watering can every day, you drive the air out of the soil. The roots sit wet. They stop breathing. Then the plant droops. And here is the cruel trick. A thirsty lavender can droop. A drowning lavender can droop. Both can brown at the tips. Both can look tired by afternoon. If you guess from the leaves alone, you may do the exact wrong thing with great confidence. Old Amos would not guess. He would push a finger down into the soil or lift the pot and feel its weight. Dry soil feels light and loose. Wet soil feels cool, heavy, and close. That one small check saves more lavender than any fancy feed. Pots make the lesson sharper. Use a container with drainage holes. Terracotta is better than plastic because it breathes. Fill it with a gritty mix that lets water run through. And never leave lavender sitting in a saucer full of water. That little puddle under the pot is not a reserve. It is a trap. Winter is worse. Cold, wet soil kills lavender faster than summer dryness. In winter, the plant is not drinking much. The sun is weak, and water lingers around the roots. One soggy month can undo a whole good year. Lavender does not ask you to neglect it. It asks you to understand the season. Help it when it is young, trust it when it is grown. Keep its roots watered, then aired, then safe from winter wet. Once the roots can breathe, the next danger is higher up. In the old woody stems, everyone is tempted to cut. The old woody stems are where good intentions go to die. Lavender is not a boxwood hedge. You cannot shear it flat across the top, walk away proud, and expect it to forgive you. If you keep trimming only the outer tips, it grows a shell of green and a hollow middle. Rain sits in it. Light cannot get inside. The stems stretch, split open, and the whole plant starts looking like a tired bird nest. Old Amos would shape lavender like a little hill, a dome, rounded on top, narrower at the sides, open enough that sun can touch the shoulders of the plant, and rain can roll off instead of soaking into the crown. After flowering, or in late summer, take off the spent flower stems and trim the soft green growth back firmly. Not brutally, firmly. You are asking the plant to branch, not punishing it for growing. Then in spring, when you can see fresh green shoots waking along the stems, shape it again. That green is your permission. Cut above it, leave life below the blade. Here's the hard truth. Lavender can sprout from green growth. It is poor at sprouting from old, bare wood. Those gray, leafless stems may look like something you can reset with one brave cut, but if you cut into them, you may leave dead gaps that never fill. Worse, you can shock the plant so badly it simply stops trying. So do not wait 5 years and then try to make an old, sprawling lavender young in one afternoon. Keep it compact while it is still compact. A little each year, a rounded trim, green left behind. That is how you keep lavender from splitting, rotting, and aging before its time. But even perfect pruning will not help if the lavender you bought was never meant for your winter. The label on the pot may say lavender. That does not mean it belongs in your garden. This is where many people get tricked. They buy the prettiest plant at the nursery in May, the one with fat purple flags or silver leaves, and for one summer it looks like a little piece of Provence. Then January comes, wet soil, hard frost, a week of gray cold sitting on the crown. By spring, it is gone. Old Amos would turn the tag over before he ever looked at the flowers. English lavender is usually the safer bet for cold gardens, not because it is delicate, because it knows how to sleep through winter. It can take frost better than the tender kinds, especially if its roots are kept dry and the plant is not fed into soft growth before cold weather. French lavender and Spanish lavender are different creatures. They love mild air. They like long sun, sharp drainage, and winters that do not bite hard. In a frost-free courtyard or near the coast, they can be beautiful. In a cold inland bed, they often die no matter how kindly you speak to them. That is not your failure. That is a mismatch. Then there is lavender, stronger growing, richly scented, often bigger, looser, more generous with its stems. It can be a good middle road where the climate suits it, but do not mistake vigor for forgiveness. Lavender still wants sun, it still wants drainage, it still hates a soggy root. So choose backward. Do not start with the flower. Start with your winter. How cold it gets, how wet the soil stays, how long the gray weather lingers. Then pick the lavender that can live with that truth, because lavender does not thrive by being pampered. It thrives when you stop asking it to be something it is not. And when the right plant meets the right hardship, the whole secret of lavender finally comes into focus. That is the part most gardeners fight. They see lavender struggling and reach for comfort. Better compost, more water, a little shade in the afternoon, a feed to green it up, a mulch blanket tucked around its feet, and piece by piece, they take away the very conditions that make lavender strong. The villain is not laziness, it is kindness aimed in the wrong direction. Modern gardening has trained us to treat every plant like a tomato. Rich soil, regular moisture, protection from heat, quick growth, big leaves, soft, lush, impressive. But lavender is not asking for that bargain. Lavender comes from places where the sun is hard, the soil is thin, and water does not hang around making promises. In those conditions, the plant does not waste itself on floppy green growth. It builds roots, it thickens its stems, it packs its leaves with oil, it flowers because that is how it survives. That sharp scent on your fingers is not decoration. It is the plant's answer to stress. Give lavender too much ease and it forgets its discipline. The stems grow soft, the center stays damp, the roots sit in airless soil. Then one cold week or one muggy spell or one heavy rain after watering, and the plant collapses from the inside. Old Amos would say, do not rescue a hillside plant from the hillside. Sun is not cruelty. Lean soil is not neglect. Pruning is not punishment. And a dry spell is not always danger. When lavender gets the right kind of hardship, it becomes what you wanted all along. Silver, tough, fragrant, covered in bees, blooming not because you spoiled it, but because you finally stopped confusing comfort with care. Love in the garden is not giving a plant the care you wish it wanted. It is learning what it is. So when you stand over your next lavender with watering can in hand, remember the old rule. Let the can wait. Before you water again, push one finger down into the soil near the roots, not the dusty crust on top, the root zone. If it is still cool and damp, walk away. That is the hard truth. Lavender often dies fastest for the gardener trying hardest, because devoted care gives it the opposite of what it was built to need. Think hillside. Build gritty drainage. Water rarely once it is established. Prune only the green, never the bare old wood. Choose the right lavender for your climate and let a little stress do its work. That is how you get silver leaves, tight stems, strong scent, and flowers covered in bees. Old Amos would tell you, some plants do not want pampering, they want understanding. So tell me in the comments, did your lavender die in the ground, in a pot, after winter, or after pruning? Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.